the Prince of Pearls today.
As we absolutely do. Josh Bazaar is here. He is third generation, one of the absolutely most renowned pearl families that the #1 top stores worldwide reach out to for impeccable quality pearls, as we do here at HSN. Welcome back, my friend.
Oh, it's great to be here. I'm so excited.
Josh?
Yeah, this is amazing.
No.
And then Prince of Pearls, then my grandfather's got to be the king of pearls.
There
right?
you go. Well, you are, but this is the king of all specials we've ever done. Imperial hand-knotted strand, a necklace.
Yep.
Not your choice, let me say that.
Yeah.
Matching bracelet. And the matching stud earrings.
Yeah.
For $49.90. 18-inch strand, 7.5-inch bracelet, beautiful matching stud earrings in your choice. That's the biggest decision in the white, the peacock, or the gray. Holiday, $20 savings. Even at $69.90. Josh, hand knotted?
This is a big deal. This is absolutely
Sterling
a big
silver
deal.
closures.
First, we have never done a full wardrobe of pearls, both earrings, bracelet, and necklace. We've never done that before. And in the history of Imperial Pearl, in the history of our company that dates back to 1893, we have never done a pearl set at a price even close to this. This is hard to believe, I know, but I want you to understand that these are genuine pearls. Every single one of these pearls has been hand-selected by my family, third-generation experts. Every single pearl has been hand-knotted between each and every pearl.
So
these pearls, I know, they have life, they have luster. It's unbelievable. I mean, we brought only a tiny quantity here
Is that
for
it
the
that
holidays.
I'm seeing?
That's it, that's all.
So I have fewer than 500?
That's it.
Oh, no. Okay, so you had one little preview.
Yeah.
And almost sold out. Well, no wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, these are genuine, beautiful Imperial pearls. I don't know how close we can get. Okay, there's the bracelet.
Yeah.
Which is, again, you're choosing peacock, the white, has a lobster claw clasp, or that gorgeous gray. I hope the television is capturing the luster in here, Josh.
Yeah, these, you know,
beautiful.
A single pair of earrings at $50 is an amazing value. A single pearl at $50 is an amazing value. But to get an entire pearl wardrobe, something that you can have for the rest of your life. You know, if you're thinking about getting a gift for someone special, at under $50, you are going to be able to get your loved one an entire wardrobe of genuine pearls. Pearls that are a gift from Mother Nature. These pearls each have taken 3 years to grow under the water, 3 years. From there, we've selected out all the pearls with amazing luster. When you give the gift of pearls, you are giving a loved one something that says about the gift that you think that they are sophisticated, elegant, refined, but every single time they wear their pearls, you're setting that person out on the right path in life, because as they wear their pearls, everyone that they come in contact with is going to think to themselves, wow, that young lady or that woman is elegant, sophisticated, and refined. These are Imperial pearls, and every single piece of jewelry that we put our brand name on is a stamp of approval from my family. It is a direct reflection of our family in the jewelry industry, and that's 3 generations. It's my grandfather, my grandmother, myself, my father.
And you travel the world. You just came back from over,
we
overseas.
supply 3,000. Yeah, we supply 3,000 jewelers.
Think about that.
You know, and that's a privilege that we've earned over many, many years
since
in
the
generations.
1800s. I mean, think about that as the go-to family. Gray is going to be gone in a matter of moments. So you receive the necklace, 18 inches, the 7.5-inch bracelet, the beautiful classic stud earrings with the butterfly clutch backs, a good size on those. Perfect starter, perfect bridesmaid's gift, perfect. I mean, we talked about this in so many great terms. I'm such a believer and lover of pearls. They're forever.
Yeah.
I mean, layer them. This is like the ultimate starter, but this is also added to any pearls that you have. How do you go wrong?